got California 31. Look, I want to thank you all for being out here today, right? You know, you heard the Ice Barbie giving a talking the other day about how she needed to liberate us from California, how we were under attack. There was an invasion going on. Does this look like an invasion?
Looks like a party.
Are we all here peacefully?
Yeah.
Do we need the National Guard here?
No.
Do we need the Marines here?
No.
You know, I want to thank you all for coming out here today to kind of raise your voices and be out here peacefully, to really contrast what the president's doing today in Washington, D.C. He's holding a birthday celebration using the Army as his puppet. You know, 2 weeks ago, I got a chance to question the Secretary of the Army. You know, and I asked him about the parade. I go, is there not a better use for $40 million than to throw a birthday celebration here for the president as something that we don't want, that we don't need? Well, he kept trying to tell me it was this is a recruiting tool that we're going to use to help bring people into the Army. And I told him there are better ways to use $40 million if you want to help bring people into the Army. A one-day event is not it. A one-day event is not it. And look, the reality is, this is nothing more than a celebration for the president's birthday, and we don't need that. We don't need a king. We don't need a dictator. We don't need an authoritarian tyrant leading our country. And the only way that we're going to change that is by all of you raising your voices in a peaceful manner, telling you and speaking up. Democracy is going to live, right?
Yes.
Democracy is going to live.
Yes.
His political ploy, his political way of using the Army, using the National Guard, of using the Marines to carry out his will, we won't stand for that. Look, we're going to be peaceful about it, right? We're not going to go and risk any confrontation. But what they are doing right now is they are getting people off the street. Stephen Miller. Look, there's only one way to describe Stephen Miller, and that's as an asshole.
That's right. That's right.
And this asshole, you know, he called in all the regional directors of ICE and told them, you're not doing enough. You have a quota. He gave them all a quota. So because they have a quota, he threw due process out the window. They're just going up, rounding people up, regardless of their status, regardless of even their U.S. citizens. They are trying to arrest everybody. They're just picking them up off the street. People who are here trying to make a better life for themselves, trying to live the American dream, trying to take care of their families. You know, and they are just kind of going out. You know, there's an economic immigration. Immigrants have a positive economic impact on our economy here. As the speaker before me said, right? They do give. They do pay taxes. They do contribute to the economy, and they don't get anything back in return. They don't get anything back in return. But I'm glad to see so many of you standing up out here, standing up for them, fighting for what is right, fighting to protect our democracy. We don't need the Insurrection Act. We don't need martial law. We don't need to be liberated by a tyrant. You know, they need to leave. The National Guard needs to leave. The military needs to leave.
Yeah.
They need to just let us be here peaceful like it was before, like they showed up. They are doing nothing more. This president's doing nothing more than trying to incite a confrontation between civilians and the military that gives him a reason to go out into the country and do this in more places. But I know with you supporting us, we're not going to let that happen.
No.
People all over the country are standing up to fight for democracy.
Yes.
So thank you for being here. Thank you for fighting. I'm going to keep fighting with you. And let's make sure that we send this asshole back to New York or Florida, wherever he's from, and send him away and get him away, and let's fight and bring democracy back to our country and to our state. And thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you.